Welcome to the Round 1 Fantasy Take TV podcast. Today we have a lot to unpack because new season's just started, and on the agenda today we have a bit of injury news, a few updates coming through today. The DPP tracker. So we do know of a few players that are on track for DPP, and one or two here might surprise you. We'll go through the rookies. We missed a few rookies. We picked the wrong Ashcroft, I think, but regardless, we'll touch on the rookies. It's very important this time of year. We'll go through some of the more so the mid prices and these players with the big prices on their head. Do you split them into like a Neil or Sarong with the tag coming up? We'll discuss if that's a play and whatnot, and go through all lines, plan trades, vice captains and captains, all that. So it's exciting, and we're back. Welcome back, Anno, and. Yeah, how'd you go this week, and who's your MVP and fold of the week?
It was an interesting round one, wasn't it, George? A lot was thrown up. Look, the score I got in the end was pretty good considering rank and all that, 2207. So it doesn't mean a whole lot round one, as we know. So you have a decent start. What are you? I think 70 points behind, and it's another 30k ranks or something. Like, it means nothing. More matters what my structure is, which we'll get into, I'm sure, in a sec. But MVP of the week, I mean, in round one, it's tough, but maybe Max Holmes. I did have him on my team a long time ago, and a lot of people maybe I saw him to creep out a few sides a bit, people unsure of how confident they'd be in him, but he came good in the second half of that game on the weekend. And to be fair, I'm sure we'll talk about that game for a few other players, but Freo were deplorable. So it was a pretty bruise-free one for the Cats. So 125 I'll take from him, because it could have been a number of other players. I mean, a few did go well in the end. Dale, it was Nas for a bit, who did eke out a decent score, but I stuck with Max in the end. So very happy with him. And then Fault, it's a harsh one, but I guess we got to give it to Will Ashcroft. Out of all, I'm not going to give it to any rookies really. And no other premiums went as scored as low as Will, so we'll maybe give it to him for week one. But I still have some belief there that he can bounce back, especially with Brizzy's run coming up. So I'm sure we'll talk about him a bit too. But how'd you go, mate? And who was good for you?
Ranked 30k, 2127. I scored, left a few points on the table because I've been playing 8 years and I don't know how to loophole. So that's besides the point. But look, I got to fix the structure. I think we'll get to that in a sec. But not happy with 4 defender rookies. Probably should listen to a few other people telling me don't pick all these defender rookies. But we can hopefully fix that this week. But the price is it's going to cost me a boost, which is very annoying because I want to hold on to as many of those as I can.
Yep.
Look, I think the team's like it's okay. There's some teams you look at them and you're just like, this team is better than mine, but there's 40 trades we can make and captaincies and whatnot. There's a long, long way to go. Like, what's 24 weeks? Almost half a year. So insane amount of time to go. So see how we go. MVP of the week, got to give it to Isaac Rankin, I think.
Or him. Yeah.
Only in the low 20s, and easy kill against depleted Saints, and he's got North coming up as well in 2 weeks. So that was good to have him, and he won 16 contested possessions, which is very, very high. So we like that. He was brilliant for us, and Will was disappointing. I should give it to someone else because you gave it to Will, but I got to give it to him.
It's not much else.
Maybe I overestimated what he can do this year, but there's time to bounce back. Had 0 marks.
Not a lot of tackles either, I think. Or maybe
just
one game.
A lot of forward time. I dare say, I think I'm going to pull the trigger, but West Coast and Richmond. This is why we picked him this run. But picked the wrong one. I needed to pick Dunkley, but which you had for a long time. I think as soon as the buys got changed over, you chucked him out M1, and for some reason you ended up with Sarong on round 1 morning. So I got to give it to Will. Just not the output we want. I'm going to punt him this week because I need to fix my structure, and he's the weak link. So I'd love to hold though, as in just for these next 2, but that's where we're at.
Yep.
Just on structure as well, Or what do you think is your priority at the moment? Is it getting in rookies? Is it jumping off players you
Yeah.
don't want? Is it, I think we've spoken about this a bit in Discord, but I've got 4 rookies down back. I want to get out of that as soon as possible because there's a Lindsay, there's a Levi, maybe a Max Hall that I want to jump on in the next few weeks. And I feel like I've got to get rid of one of these defender rookies because not only that, you got Pryor, who I don't know if he'll get dropped or not, but a lot of Essendon people are not happy with his performance. Zach Reed is the most injury-prone player in the game, and young trainers there holding it down at D8, doing a good job for us. So could get Bison in a few weeks, but that's one where I want to wait till after the bye. It could be sub, but played well. But they also have defenders coming back, like a Cunningham. I don't even know where Robbie Fox plays anymore, to be honest, but he's coming back too roughly after the bye. So that's one I want to wait on Riley Bice. But what are you thinking about your team? What's your priority for your team at the moment in terms of fixing up?
Yeah, I think we should talk about structure for a bit here because obviously it's very key earlier in the year. I mean, less so because of all these early buys. Like it's just such a different game. Having next 4 weeks being best 18, it's not as important. But what it is important is you only have a limited amount of spots, not just on field, but in the midfield in general, right, George? And if all the best money makers are there, you don't want someone there that could easily be scoring similar, maybe a bit less as a defender per se compared to a mid, and then having the worst rookie. Like it's way better to have the better rookie make you the cash than maybe a 10 points per game better off player in the midfield compared to defense, in the premium sense. So, I did actually have even deeper of a midfield, down, I think Will Ashcroft was at M6 at one stage in sort of the final week. And I am less active in, I haven't tweeted much or anything this year. I'm not going to make my own videos. So what I did have TDK and Flynn in the ruck for a long, long time. Wasn't going to pick Cherry, wasn't going to pick Gawn. And I did have 5 deep in defence, but it was Perryman, who obviously we'll chat about it maybe a bit, in a bit later. But and I did have Finn Callahan, and that's how I had Will Ashcroft at M6. And very late in the piece, I thought, look, Flynn, how long can we trust him? Even TDK himself does, seem to get banged up and throw himself around and can get injured quite easily. So I was pretty concerned with just running with that towards the end. I thought it would be safer to get a premium ruck in. So I got Cherry. And I guess it's a win-loss. I'd sacrificed Perryman. People are looking to jump off him already with what happened to his role. And then obviously Finn, even though he played really well, Callahan, he does have the bye this week. So that was my logic. I didn't know how much I trusted the Perryman role, and Finn had the bye. So I was like, you know what, I'll turn them into Cherry, another rook. But that obviously, I ended up like you with the 4 defender rookies. And I think I'd be much more nervous with that if we didn't have this best 18, for the next 4 weeks. Yeah. It just makes it doesn't really punish you, which I think is bad. Like we should be punished for this.
Yeah.
But we're not. If we were to roll the next month with this same structure, I don't think we'd get as punished as bad points wise as we would. I think where we would get punished is missing out on a really good, midfield rook or forward rook, right? Because we've stashed more premiums and mid prices there than we would have if, we had an extra defender. So I don't like it in that sense that we can just go with this and probably not get as punished, but I still think it is really important to get the right rookies, of course. So, that's what I did. Obviously, you said I stupidly changed Dunkley to Sarong. I don't know why on Saturday morning, but it makes it easier for me with Sarong sitting there knowing that Jordan's just tagged Neil for 40. And I know Neil's, getting on a bit, but he's still a great player. And for him not to touch the ball for 2 quarters, it does scare you a bit. I mean, Sarong didn't do much in the first half without a tag on the weekend. And look, in the past, you would usually just cop that. You pick these players for the year. Sarong has really good matchups coming up after Sydney. He's got the West Coast, Richmond sort of run coming up in the next month or so. Saints in there later on in the piece. You pick these guys for a reason. If he was Dunkley, obviously that wouldn't be going anywhere, but I've really considered splitting his cash into Baz and SDK and then getting Levi Ashcroft in as well. Getting rid of a Hugo who I have as well, made a mistake there. I think Hugo could be a good player, but the role's not there.
It's an uphill battle when you're getting the 60% tog.
I've gone on for a long time, but that's something I've considered, this week, and it's what I'll be considering for the next couple of days is splitting that money. If Strong didn't have a tag coming up, it'd be much harder of a decision to make. But the fact that I could be staring at a 50 or 60, and Strong probably works through the tags. Yeah, he does work through them pretty well. He's not a seasoned veteran yet. But he's copped a few in his early young career. He does work through them pretty well, and he does. To be honest, he's going forward a bit more than
he is, and it's deep forward too. It's not half forward.
Yeah. And look, Murphy Reed is the one that kicked 4 goals out of the square, not him. But he could definitely do that and still, get a serviceable score for you, and then you really have that nice run coming up. But George, I could just easily be sitting here next week saying, "Shit, Sarong just scored a 60. How's my nerve? Am I holding on to him with a whatever break even that would be?"
No, you got to hold after that.
Correct. Yeah. But yeah, so that's where I'm sitting. And it is a thing, right? If I had Baz, I wouldn't be even probably considering that. I'd just be holding on and getting Levi in, and Bob's your uncle. But not having Baz. Yeah. I mean, why did we come to that decision in the end, George? A lot of people probably copied us in the sense. There's a lot still there with him, so well done. But to me, the word was he hadn't trained the last couple of weeks barely at all.
Yeah.
He had that knock to his, the other knee, not his knee that he injured. And I was just like, let's just wait and see. And then he comes and pops a 140 on Freo, who weren't even trying. So
I don't know.
Force him in straight away.
Yeah, I think it's maybe overreaction. Not only that, just the role, the CBAs were very low, actually. I think they were in the 20s. So that was sort of the logic then. They even said, we don't expect him to be that clearance player just yet. Probably more outside at the moment, but it was just everywhere. We know he's a ball magnet in juniors, and he's cheap. And I think it's just one where we have to make sacrifices to get him in, him and Levi, and probably other rookies too. And it means we have to maybe trade players that would like to give another chance, but just got to find a way to get him in. So, yeah, maybe we overreacted. And I was sort of keen to fade, and now it just looks stupid. So, and the rank copped it. This is why, I mean, you were much better than me this week, but I feel like I'm 70, 80 points behind the comp for no reason now. So, I have to correct that, cop it on the chin. And not the end of the world, but yeah, it stings. It's 80 points we'll never get back, but it is what it is.
I mean, I'll be sitting here with your ranking points if I didn't take TDKVC, and then I, in doing so, took Nevitt as the emergency. And I really only did that because I saw Baz go 140 go, and it's very stupid and narrow to do that round one, but it did net me 30 points on the rookie, and then another 30 points on the captain, really 30 foot. So yeah, I'd be sitting with the same score as you if I didn't do that. Anyway, probably would have captained Cherry maybe, I think, instead of Sheasel. But yeah, similar. And the thing is now I have Bo Allen, who, we're hoping he comes in and becomes a decent rookie. But again, he didn't go too well in the preseason.
So.
Yeah, we'll see. So again, I've given up a spot there in my midfield to do that. Yeah. Not starting Baz has just compounded into, maybe more problems down the track. So
yeah,
is it something we fix straight away? Yeah, I think so. Especially they got Saints as well. So
yeah. So we'll get to news after. Usually we do news at the start in terms of injuries, but it's slowly rolling out the injury list on the AFL website.
We'll go through
this
it
is when it comes through. So we'll touch on just DPP tracker. So from what we've been told, is accurate as far as I'm aware. Both Ashcrofts are on track for DPP. Rowan Marshall is also on track for DPP, and Freako has been tweeting at Chad Warner for DPP as well.
Yep.
Jordan Dawson, you might think, spent a bit of time forward. He's only 25% forward, so that could be a watch, but I dare say that won't hold because part of the reason he went forward, and he will spend time forward, but they'll Winhager tag, Dawson was losing it a bit for a while. They gave away 2 frees against Winhager, and yeah, it's getting very annoyed watching that because he's hanging onto his jumper off stoppage non-stop. I'm like, umpire, look, your bloody eyes, mate. Ugh. That's the thing.
Dawson, that's the thing. He can go forward and take marks, kick goals. That's he'll still score down there. Obviously, you don't want it too much, but yeah, I don't think he'll get forward DPP.
Yeah. Now, rookies are very important. So some problematic rookies potentially. So Finn O'Sullivan, I think any other year you hold, but with so many good rookies, he's one that I'm happy to give another chance. But you can see why I didn't score well. We got him in because the word was all week at training, not just the last training session, all week. Trained with the defender group and spent the whole time down back. And I didn't pick McKercher last year, and that was a hard watch. And I got bailed out by, for some reason, they thought they'd throw him half forward, and then he got injured and whatnot. But Finn O'Sullivan, Elijah Sardis, and this is a new, fresh update. Parrish is listed as 1 week, listed as 3 last week, so that's just come through. Pau Pepper, I guess, problematic, almost one of the most pathetic performances, along with the rest of his team. And Hasty's potentially a problematic rookie if they're going to persist with him as starting sub or subbing out. He's one I'm holding. Do you have him?
Yeah. No. I swapped him to Bo to do that. Take the score and take the VC. But he was one I had. Now that is really weird, frustrating if you have him for sure. But obviously you got to see it out and see what happens because his scoring power looks pretty decent.
Yeah, I think he's a hold. But in terms of if you have to trade one of Finn O'Sullivan, Silas, and SPP, you want to get Levi in this week. This is your avenue. Are you holding on that for a week, or is there one of these which you'd get rid of?
I'd love to give Finn and Sardis maybe one more. If I had all 3 of him, those 2 and SPP, it's probably SPP I'd give the flick to. And look, he could obviously, this is his probably best matchup of the year outside of West Coast, come out with a decent score this week. But from what I was seeing on that bloke, seriously, he was not playing footy. He was just going out there to kill.
Yeah,
we were laughing at it, watching it. A few of us that on Saturday night. It was ridiculous. He could have killed someone in one of his contests. He came in like a torpedo, like a missile.
Yeah.
He didn't get given the ball maybe 3 possessions before, and so he said, and then they turned it over, and then a couple of handballs, and the Pies player had it, and he just launched, and he got horizontal. He was coming and he just missed the guy and went into his body. But if it went into his head, he was been gone for a month. I don't know what this guy. Look, he just came back from a big injury. Maybe he works into it, and he has done 60-odd, 70 for his career, and it probably will get back to that. But maybe early on, you're going to be waiting for it, or especially the way Port looked. And I know they get us this week, but they'll play other teams. Who knows? He's probably the one I'd go. Him or Sardis. I think I'd give Finn another crack.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they could all be gone for us, in over the next couple of weeks.
Sardis has the most scoring power, but also I think has the most issues in terms of job security, and also has the bye, which means cash gen's going to be 1 week slower. Yeah, and I don't think you really want Sardis on. I mean, I'm fielding him this week just because I've restructured, so I've got 4 mids on field, one's in the flex. There was a rookie, so I think I'm holding all 3. But if I had to get rid of one, it's probably SPP, then Sardis and Voss.
Yeah, Voss still got the most upside, but I do see people talking about he's just not an accumulator back. So back there, is he really going to rack up? I don't think he's going to be as good as Shees and Kirch, obviously not as a defender, but he can take really good marks, intercept marks. He's got the height, and that's in his bag, which isn't the other 2 quite clearly. Harry's not too bad, but Finn can take a really good overhead mark and intercept. So if he gets that side of his game going, but again, he's played his first game. We can't expect him to be doing that straight away. So maybe he's better on the wing. A bit wing time. He can get run freely and use his impact forward half. I don't know. So, but he did play 100% of the game in defense. So I'd happy to give him 1 more week for sure. With the other 2, it's a bit I don't know. Sardis really, but especially that Parrish news you just said is looking like he might be stuffed.
They rate Parrish. I think surely they just give him after the bye.
Yeah, probably.
But now rookies, there's a few on the bubble. But honestly, just on these 3 rookies, Sardis, SPP, and Voss, I really couldn't care less if they were out my team. To be honest, I wouldn't lose stress. To be honest, lose sleep over it. Now, there's a few rookies on the bubble because of the opening round. Ned Long, Corey Warner, and I think it's Tom or Tim Hanley.
Yeah.
Let's call him Hanley. I think. Ned Long has the Goey available this week. So I don't know if I'd go there.
If he was cheaper, we'd probably have more of a look. But if you're getting somebody okay,
VFL numbers aren't massive either for a midfielder. I think they're in the 90s.
But with this Pendles and sub business, it just who knows? He could be the one subbed out, or in a couple of weeks he's the sub for Pendles, and then Pendles plays and then gets. Who knows? I can't read that at all. So don't know. I think Warner's the one, George. I almost started him. I did have him for a little bit, maybe 2 weeks ago, and then I went back to SPP, and then I ended up with Joe Berry, who did all right, but they obviously got smacked. So give him another week. Obviously would love to have Warner. Probably should have just looked at it. I mean, he's playing wing. He did kick a couple of goals. I think he kicked 2 goals too. Like, got a lot of shots on goal that you're probably not expecting too often. But I think he's pretty locked into his, into the side in the role, and has, the earlier cash rise. So probably do regret not going him, even though I think what he scored week 1, like a 40.
Something like that, yeah.
So
they've had
hard,
tough run.
Yeah.
I like
get
him.
In. If you had Levi already, George, this is where you can do these things, right? You can get Warner, get some more cash in early from an SPP or something if you didn't want them, or and then just get ahead of the pack type of thing. So maybe if I already had Levi and I did had Baz and all that, maybe I'd look at just one trade and getting Warner in, and you could just ride it out, see how you go. I wouldn't hate that.
Yep, he had an 84 DT in the VFL, and I'm taking out a game there, which looks like he was injured, like low score, and then missed the next few. So I'm just guessing that's an injury game, which is all right. And he's like top of the time trials and all that stuff. So, I think he'll keep playing. And they got a few players coming back, but I think there's a few other guys that can go out before him, I think. So I think he's fine trading if you want.
See what happens with J-Mac as well at the tribunal, even though he's been playing a bit of mid, but that's another spot.
Yeah. Moving on to some of the probably touch on the weak defender rookies as well. Patton, Leake, O'Connell. I think you can probably let go of all of these if you need to. Patton will get a price rise. Leake is filling in, played forward, so I think.
Yeah, I ended up with Connor O'Sullivan, George.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think you get one price rise out of him, and as soon as we get the Geelong injury update, we can. Fingers crossed for your sake.
Quick question to you is if I do that restructure, which I'm not saying I do, and get SDK in as the 5th defender, would you trade Pryor or Connor O'Sullivan?
That would depend on Kolodajny's timeline, because I think he's straight out for Kolodajny.
Yeah. Whereas
how much
Pryor,
do you cost you?
Can hold.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wait for the Kolodajny. Cross that bridge when it comes.
Yeah.
But
anyway, just a question.
Yep. So some good rookies. So obviously Levi Ashcroft going to get forward status, can probably hold down F6 for us while we can field an O'Driscoll, a Nevitt. I reckon Hasty's fieldable too if this sub risk didn't exist, but it does. Davidson, I thought we'd get as your F6 and probably didn't do what we wanted.
No.
So here's the thing with Levi, right? I feel like we've spent half this podcast on him, but he's going to get forward status, and the fear of having him being sub, I'm just going to pretend that it's not going to happen, and it might happen, but that's not a good enough reason for me to fade him because he's too good.
Too good. 50-point last quarter in his first game in the fourth quarter of a close game. Right, not a game they're up, but like in a close game. Scores 50 SuperCoach in the fourth in his first game. Like, he's a pig. Yeah,
I know they've got Lomans down to 1 to 2 weeks, and we'll see what the update says. Oh, it's updated. Okay, Charlie Cameron's a test. Yeah, and Loman 1 to 2. Oh, okay, that's not great for that.
Starcevic, what does it say with him? He's gonna have to miss one.
TBC concussion.
Like, he might just be. They might have to give him time. I don't know. It's not even remotely close to the same spot on the ground, but you'd think Fagan would just be looking for any way to keep Levi on the team, wouldn't you? Like,
maybe, but I think if there's a bit of luck required here. But if he doesn't end up being sub, it's going to be a very painful antipod, and he's going to make a stack of cash. I'm just going to pick. He should start this week. I'm pick and be done with it.
Yeah, too good of a matchups to avoid it. You can't. Yeah.
I'd take Nod over Levi
If you didn't have
him.
either. Yeah.
He got a lot of CBAs from memory.
Yeah. I think he was third to the
Yep.
2 top dogs. So, yep.
So get him in if you don't have him. Never as well get him in if you don't have him. He had 50% CBAs, so it looks.
Yep.
I tweeted I'm going to field him, and I got a little bit of cold feet because
I did too.
he was last on the interchange.
Not for that reason.
Team sheet. I'm like,
I was just scared of another Sardis operation, so I said,
yeah,
put the E on him, and then obviously took his score in the end. But I was going to field Foss over him. So yeah, field him. He's in there. He's tackling. Yeah. Get him on field for sure. And then
Lindsay, I'm going to wait one. I think he was really good.
Yeah,
like didn't
clean.
Like he didn't
make a bad decision
already.
I think he was 100% from his first 15 touches, and he ended with like 80% in about 4 or 5 clangers. I think a couple were frees against, but could have turned. If he just a few clangers in the second half, and obviously the game was close. It sort of cooked his score. Not cooked his score. He still scored 80, but you know what I'm saying, he definitely would have turned if he didn't have a couple of those when the game was on the line. But didn't make a bad decision all day really.
I'm going to wait 1 week on him. I think he sort of fell off our radars a bit because we thought maybe he could play halfback and ended up training wing. And he was coming off a knee injury, so he missed a lot of preseason too.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to wait one on Lindsay, but looks the goods. Max Hall, I like. Again, I'm going to wait 1 week on him. And I took him out the last second for Elijah Hewitt. Just a few Saints supporters were saying they've got a few smalls to come back in, like a Butler.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like Hall has to stay. He was one of their best players, I think. Could have kicked 4 goals. I like him. He's in my plans for next week. I'd be shocked if he doesn't end up in my team. So I think he's going to be a good one. And his VFL, I think, is 80-something, 84 as well. Who did I say that had 84 DT before? Maybe I was thinking about it doesn't matter. Warner.
But yeah. They look good.
Remember Chandler was 90 DT in the forward line, and he made that much. I didn't have him, and that was bad. He made 300K nearly. So Hall's like not far off that. Mature age as well. So I don't see why he doesn't make 200K if he stays in the team. Add 4 shots on goal. Like, I'm keen on him.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is, Butler to come back in. But I think part of this is you got to back your players in to perform.
They get us in round 3 as well, Saints.
Yeah,
the Tigers in round 3. I'm pretty sure
it might be a good match. Like that. I say that half jokingly, but actually,
probably it'll be high scoring. Maybe I don't know. A lot of running. Probably a lot of turnovers, chaos.
Yeah. So we like Hall. Campriale, I think, is just whatever. You have him. You don't have him. Just let him go.
We sort of just locked in a rookie early in the week. Not knowing about Saints rookies or these other ones later on. That's just why.
Yep.
We got him, so yeah, he's fine.
Stone is one where we're probably a little bit underwhelming. He has some good moments, but he also has some poor moments. So, yeah, I feel like Jacob was sort of outperforming him, but maybe they're slightly different roles. I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely different.
And part of the reason why I'm holding off on some rookies is we can see who do we trade out to get these better rookies in, or if it's even worth a trade. So, if I don't know, could Stone get dropped or moved to sub? I don't know. Not sure how high they rate him, but we'll get a bit more time to see, if there's any injured rookies or drops rookies or starting sub rookies, and that will help us make a decision who goes out and who comes in.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting on that. So Elijah Hewitt, I put in the last, very close to when he was locked out. He was okay. He started off a bit rusty, but I think he'll be fine for us. He led the clearances for the Eagles.
Really?
Yep. Well, I was looking at Jack Graham for fantasy because he's very cheap.
Says something about them, doesn't it?
Graham is M1 for West Coast. Probably not ideal when you're 6 years into a rebuild, but he actually played all right, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean, I remember when they're all whinging that they got Graham and Baker and stuff, and Probably
The
two of
best
their
players.
best players that tried actually gave a shit yesterday.
Yeah.
So it could be dire. Like we
I
could
think
finish it up.
Waterman. There's footage of Waterman and Kelly.
Yeah,
They're just a little bit dejected. It's
Kelly,
like,
man.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
he had
look,
to
they're in a
come.
rebuild. They're in
Yeah,
a rebuild.
but yeah, look, Hewitt, he's one I'd wait on. Obviously, Drew Billy's massive problem with him, but has done most of the preseason okay. Just came up sore the last few weeks.
That's a crack. He definitely has a crack.
Yep, got to play him. Jack Henderson, honestly, I saw him kick an early goal. I didn't really see much else, but he's one where some people might need that 99K
Yeah.
player.
He looks all right.
One,
He's pretty small, but he has a crack as well. Yeah, and he had huge state league numbers, didn't he? Massive.
yeah.
So hey, I mean, it's just really hard with the D's. Like, who's staying in? Who's
I mean, he played forward, and Cozzy's
Yes.
back in round 4. I'm just
Yeah.
Melksham's back in 2.
That Aiden Johnson got suspended, right? Didn't he as well?
Yep.
So
Then got a week. Yeah.
got a week. Look, who knows? Very hard to tell.
I don't feel comfortable enough, but if he's one that enables a Baz or something else, I don't know why we're talking about Baz so much because everyone has him set for like 10 people in Discord, but yeah. I would take the punt, to be honest. I would feel a bit nervous, though, if it's the one thing that... I probably would. I'll probably wait one. I don't know. It's just if there's a few people might be in that awkward situation. I feel comfortable going for a lot of rookies, and he's probably not one I'm just comfortable at the moment with. I feel like this sub rest has been written all over him, but if you're desperate,
Or subbed out. Like if he plays subbed out, I don't know. Especially with Langford being the sub, maybe they make that switch. Who knows? It's really hard to tell.
Yep. And then R3 is Reedy, Reed, and Boyd. Marshall is injured at the moment. Had ice on his knee at the end of the game. I'll just check Saints injury reports. That is not updated, unfortunately. It's maybe we should do this later at night. That's okay. Just a bit of a watch because Boyd doesn't take many marks from the ground, and that's where he can get cooked by SDK this week. I just think Marshall's clearly underdone. I saw multiple times throughout the game. Played
Definitely.
forward. They've got hella injuries, so he's. I'm okay with him. Now you've got. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've got Archer Reed.
Yeah, I just looked the forward status, and I think he'll get a run of games. It's just his tog was awfully low early, and then the second half it was not monster, but way better. But had a lot more ruck time, and Flynn was sitting in the goal square. So I really don't know what West Coast do. People calling for Flynn's head, aren't they? Does that mean Archer Reed becomes the number 1 ruck? Would they bring BJ in? Who the hell knows? But I just went him. I know he cost more than Boyd, 20K more, but he had the forward status, and with Flynn, it might, say a ruck. It just allows a bit more flexibility. But hey, if Rowan's like not good to go, Boyd's got to play the next month. It's very hard not to make a decent amount of coin as a 99K. So I'll be looking, going, shit, do I have to make the switch? And it wouldn't even have to be Archer Reed. Say if he might, looks all right, I could. That's the thing. I could trade a forward rookie or any rookie really, and restructure and get Boyd in. So I'll have to think about that next week.
It's not one I'd boost for. You can, even if they both go up in price a little bit and it costs you 20, 30K, hopefully less than that. It's one you could probably wait depending on injury timelines, as long as they both go up in price together. Because I don't think they scored much apart. What was Archer like 50
Boyd
or
scored
something?
60, Archer 44 or something. So.
Okay. Not a big deal.
No, it'd be like a direct swap. You might,
Yeah.
It's just, I guess we got to wait on Sharman, King, Owens. Let's see what it is next week. After this week, what the update is, and Rowan himself, of course.
I think
if you have Reedy,
assess another week.
You have Liam Reedy.
He's no good, unfortunately.
No, Jackson started the first CBA, George. Like they had Reedy in the forward line. That's showing little trust. Like you're picking don't you need to play, like if you're going down that path, you give him first crack at the ruck, but they didn't even do that. So they might be out of the team soon. Who knows?
Yep. So we'll move on from rookies. But just for what it's worth, I'm planning on getting Levi Ashcroft this week, and then I'm planning for Lindsay and Hall next week. I already have Nevitt and Nod. Which ones are you planning to get in at this stage, or just waiting on
It'll
a
be
few?
Levi this week, no matter what I do, whether it's just the one trade, like a Sardis or something to him,
Yep.
or my other big stupid boost trade. It'll be getting Levi. So yeah, the rest I'll wait.
Yep. No, good. So we'll go through a few defender mid prices. I think the main one I've got Short and Perryman here. It's probably unfair to put Short with Perryman.
Yeah.
Short, I'm just gonna watch for a few weeks.
Yeah, I think you wait.
I think worst case he averages what he's priced at anyway.
Yeah. And you can deal with him later.
Look, I thought he was completely gassed and spent the last few minutes on the bench.
I've heard you say that a couple of times, but I think that was like 80% of AFL players across the weekend.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Won't worry about it. I'm not worth a trade, not worth a discussion at this point, probably, but a little bit underwhelming.
Wait till we concede a lot of points, and we'll average 90. It'll do 90. We'll have more than that. I don't know. It'll do that.
Okay. Now Perryman, man, I'm pretty lucky I jumped off this. So sometimes, like, I pick players that I didn't want, like a Short and O'Sullivan, but also jumped off players that I had for quite a while, like a Perryman. So
yeah, I'm the same.
I guess it evens out a bit.
Yeah,
I landed on the team I deserved, so that's okay. But yeah, Perryman. If you have Harry Perryman and you see Jordan De Goey back this week, you probably, like, Long played good. Are they going to do anything with him? Sidebottom had 30 plus touches, played a bit of mid. What do they do with him?
Well, Sidey's been running with an opposition mid going back to last year, right? I don't think Pies fans really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, like, Fly's been doing some weird stuff, and especially with his Pendles, they're trying to get him to the games record. I mean, Perryman played half the game, half back, George. Like, that's sort of the role he was doing a bit of, like, giant. I don't know. Didn't they get him in to play in the middle?
Yeah, I think there's a good article. I forget which AFL journo did. Might have been Riley Beveridge. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, the article was basically saying, like, why didn't they use him in the midfield at the Giants? And his clearance ratio was really, really poor when he was in there. And I think just watching him play, he's a bit slow. And that was the biggest problem with the Collingwood midfield. Just like Finn Callahan was running rings around them. And they've sort of, they've changed that mix up a little bit. So I'm trading out. In fantasy, I'm trading him.
I've got him there too. I don't know what to do because I don't have Baz there. I don't have Levi there either.
I'm feeling a bit nervous going to Freya, but I feel like that 100K plus, I want Perryman out on the buy anyway. And I guess a bit different as well. We've all got Will Day in that format too, and he's going to get Bedford. So I feel like we've got priorities, and I'm trying to get ahead of the curve there. That's a different story, but
Perryman owners. What would we say to him? Would you trade him to SDK? Would you trade him? Yeah,
we'll get to SDK in a second.
Would you trade him to Baz if you had a way of doing it?
To who? Sorry,
to Baz Perryman. Like, if you had
easily. But the problem is then you got to get like a Bice in probably, and that makes me a bit nervous.
Yeah, it's what a lot of people in the were doing the Bo Allen in the midfield too. If they had Perryman, so you can do the Baz.
Yeah, I think I guess you probably don't get the most ideal rookie at this point, but you get rid of one of your biggest problems, and you get in one of your biggest priorities. So it kind of like, it's not the worst. So yeah, I mean, there's question marks on the role, and the reason why I dropped Perryman, nothing to do with role. It's injury prone. It was soft tissue every year. That's the only reason I dropped him. So actually paid off in 2025.
I got luck. Yeah, I did him and Finn Callahan to Cherry. So
yeah.
I
think it seems to me like the role was very iffy, and it could change at any point. He's not a keeper. He has a buy. I guess it depends how much you like a SDK or Freya, and what that money gets you if you go down to them. Or you can go up to Tom Stewart or a Holmes or something. Stewart's role is really good. Same as the back half of last year where he was cooking a lot. So
starts CBA and rolls back as a +1. Yeah.
I think the problem is De Goey's coming back. Long's in there, played well. Sidebom's in there, played well. Nick's going to, I think Nick kind of played a little bit everywhere. Take the load off him a bit. But for me, I'm concerned about the role. I think you can hold for one if you want another look at SDK. We'll get to that in a second, but I'm trading if I had.
If you had him, yep. I think I'm
Although
the same.
I will generally say trade because it's round 1. So if you really want to have another look, then that's fine. But I think it's role related. That's me. Make your own assessment. So
Yeah, if you don't trade him, just get ahead of, get Levi, get maybe
Bats.
another rookie you missed or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, make sure you don't leave yourself with 4 or 5 trades to do next week because you won't be able to do them.
Yeah.
So
So SDK and
Okay.
Freya, the 2 mid prices. Freya, I'm doing fantasy. Supercoach, I'm a little bit worried in terms of he started to score when he played a bit more up the ground in the second half. Looks really good, but we know 4 or 5 weeks away is Trelaw, Bont. So I don't know if the keeper status. I doubt he won't be keeper, but looks really good. I'm letting that one go. But if you started, you're happy, but I'm letting that
not
go.
trading into it. No.
Yeah, I mean, it could go well, but
Could. Yeah.
letting it go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to read as well because we don't really have a good understanding on what the role exactly is. But I think because he played so well in the second half, maybe they stick with that role a bit more
You
than
feel like
in
he's
the back
more of
line.
he's a bit like an Eddie Richards type mid though, and they've already
Yeah.
thrown him in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. So he played first half back and then second half more on the ball and
I think so. Well, I was switching in between games because we're watching the Port get thumped as well at the same time. So to be honest, I don't have a 100% read on him, but that's my understanding of that pick. So
yeah.
now Sam De Koning, do you have any initial thoughts on this pick? Because I was speaking to a lot of good players in the Discord, and a lot of them are quite hesitant to jump on this.
Yeah, look, it's a tough one. I think that obviously run of Ruck opponents coming up really is what everyone's quoting, right? And say, he's got Big O, really destructive Ruck over the years, Gorn obviously, and then Rob. But Rob does win the hitouts a lot, but doesn't do much else around the ground. I don't think it matters as much for a ruck like SDK. It didn't matter. And look, he's not. I don't even want to say this prime English like there's that long of a prime, but what he was doing before, God knows what he's doing right now. But when he was scoring, and SDK is not going to score what English does. English was obviously half decent in the ruck and had a really good midfield around him that was able to get him some hitouts to advantage. In most taps that he managed to win.
Yeah.
I don't think it concerns me as much. Like SDK, if every ruck game he's played now, and it's how many is it now? Maybe 6
20.
or 7.
Oh yeah,
no, in the ruck.
yeah.
Yeah, he's got 20 touches and about 5-6 marks. I think that's what you expect from him in these games where he's not going to win the hitouts much. I still think he can give it an 80 out, and then if you hold your nerve past that, I think you can hold him onto him much longer, and then basically to when Conway comes back, if they go that route, which I think they probably do. They don't want SDK to be in the ruck, for his
I'm not
career,
sure.
but I'm not totally sure with it either. But I actually like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty annoyed that I didn't stick with it because I did have him, for a while up until about a week or two ago. Maybe 10 days ago, before the season started.
I don't know what more people need to see. We kind of know sort of what he is roughly. So he's got Harry Boyd this week who takes 0 marks. We saw last year.
Can't run. He couldn't even sprint 3 meters.
Yeah. So he's going to have a field day most likely this week. And then he's got the hard run. So for me, I'm just I'm going to go. I'll go for it this week. Hopefully get a spike this week. Not only that, we're running Flinny. So no, you're not. You have Sherry, sorry. I'm running TDK Flynn. So he's running insurance as well. So there's a bit of value in that too. Look, I'm going to grab him this week. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm expecting up and down. Maybe Stanley gives him a chop out for 1 week or so. I'm not sure. Just kind of guesswork. So look, it's not ideal, but at the price, keep a rookie off, fixes structure. Instead of going to a premium, that gives me money for what I need. So that's part of the reason why I'm picking him as well. But
I don't think they bring in a chop out, George. He's already not rucking in either 50.
It's odd.
He's getting a chop out there, right? He's forward line. He's sitting behind the ball, going to intercept, and it's in the back line. He's again sitting as an outlet if they win the ball in the back line as an outlet. I think he's going to take a lot of marks, run a lot of Ks around the ground, and run whatever ruckman in between the arcs, as another mid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty annoyed that I didn't stick with it. And I get the point of the hard ruck matchups. I don't think he's going to score a lot of points in the ruck anyway, no matter who he really plays. Like Jackson towed him up. How many hit-outs did he get in the weekend? It wasn't that many. Like he didn't ton up from playing in the ruck from actual hit-outs on the weekend, did he? Like it was from his 20-odd touches and another 6-7 marks, whatever he had, and obviously a goal, but it was very late in the piece. And he scored like 20 less than his dream team. Like he had 120-something dream team, George. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I get the skepticism, and I get the point where people will be like, "Well, if he actually does drop like a 60 against Gorn, and his break even's 150, or 100, are you gonna stick with it?" And I think I probably just would. Like,
yeah,
I'd happily eat another maybe whatever cash loss it might be to see if he can post another ton against an easier ruckman than the ones he's coming up against shortly, and maybe he could be a longer term hold. And then we'll probably need a Conway update, I guess. But yeah, I like it. I don't know.
I think Conway, they need to build him up, but he's been too injured. I can't see that. This is last week's report. It says TBC. I can't see Conway coming in anytime soon.
Yeah, and he's not shouldering, like I said, an 80% ruck load, is he? It's a 50%, 40-50%, and yeah.
All right. Well, he's in for me. It is what it is. I think he has one of the most potentials as for someone at his price, and for me, we've spoken about him. I'm going it this week. If it doesn't work, then whatever. But I think there's a good chance it does.
Yeah,
might be a bit bumpy at times. Move on to the midfield. I spoke about a Neil or Strong splitting those guys up. We've sort of already spoken about that.
Neil, you don't, man. Like you give him West Coast.
I think you got to back in what you initially did playing for, which is the run. A bit hypocritical.
Yeah, Sarong I wouldn't trade unless you're like me and don't have Baz. Like if you have Baz and you have Sarong, just obviously you're fine, sit tight. Like I think he works through the tag this week if he gets it. And he might not get it, it might be Jordan Clark. Sorry, George. Yeah. Or even Brayshaw. I mean, Geelong went to Brayshaw, not like super hard tag, but
I think they went to stoppage. Atkins was on Sarong for a bit, and O'Connor was on Andy.
Mate, every time Freo actually broke free, Andy was gone, like, especially in the early. I know his teammates didn't show up too well, but he was having a crack early and still worked through it all right. So, I don't know. Jordan, mate, he could match up on either of them. And he's been playing pretty much midfield all preseason, and so I think one of them gets him.
Yeah. If you had the money, would you chase a Josh Dunkley?
Man, that's so hard to talk about.
Yeah.
He had him for so long. Like I've always been the type to go, I want a 600k mid. I don't want to start a Rosie M1. None of that bullshit. I don't care what rookies are around. I want a big dog,
Yeah.
And obviously you got Shees, and then I ended up with Cherry. So I just don't know why, but you can't really chase. Like, how are you chasing? From who? Like even me with Sarong, I think it's so stupid to just sideways to dunks. Like Sarong could come out with a 150 of his own when he gets West Coast and Richmond in the next few weeks. Like,
points are gone, I suppose.
Points are gone. Look, dunks looks good. I think one thing that
nothing as well. He'll start scoring again.
Yeah. And Ashcroft 70, Klug even 60. I think like none of them scored except dunks.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I think there is a positive with dunks, maybe that he is in his prime.
Yeah,
Neil's towards the end. Not the end, but last few years. And then there's younger kids are sort of coming through. Like Levo's not, just started his career. Dunks might be the number one guy for midfield time in CBAs, I think, from now. Like, Neil might be not managed a bit more, but Neil's been a very high time on ground guy and CBA guy for his career. Maybe they just don't have to run him into the ground. Like they're probably the best team in the comp list wise, and they have a lot of options. Like, Klug can play elsewhere. Ashcroft, both boys off half. I just think dunks, that might be the upside, George. He might have get more mid time than he has at Brisbane so far. I don't know.
Good pick. It's hard to trade him. Yeah. I think for me the focus now is just getting Rooks off.
Yeah.
I know we got these best 18s, but after that, just get them off. And that 610 is probably a bit too much to pay. Like to start, okay, but now it's just hard to get that sort of money. But look, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to get in for this nice run. But
have a look. If Neil scores poorly again, and or if Sarong has a really bad tag. But again, you got to prioritize other things in round 2, man. You got to prioritize the money makers.
Yep. Now we got Will Ashcroft. I am kind of reluctantly trading, but hated the role. I got to get Baz and fix D5, so he's my path to that. You're holding.
Yeah, I think I'll use the Sarong path. As silly as it sounds, it gets me Baz and SDK.
Yep.
And just a way better structure. But if you already had all them, I'll be holding for sure.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He should bounce back. We saw last year low CBAs did 88, so no reason why CBAs were in the 50s this time, so no reason why he can't do in the 90s somewhere, especially with this run.
I think his best score was against West Coast in his rookie year. Ashcroft, I was looking at it, had a 150 or 148, 30 touches, 0 clangers, absolutely cooked.
Isn't he?
No, there's no guarantee of anything, George. It's just a stat.
Yeah. That's all right. Just another one, James Peatling. He's a trade. I guess we sort of knew going in, but he's the 5th mid, and Draper is playing sub. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's subbed at one point, to be honest. I guess we'll just keep subbing Taylor Walker at this point, but he's not bad, but there's clear.
Well, yeah, he's kind of equal 4th with Rankin, but again, Rankin could improve, and then it makes him even worse, couldn't he? So yeah.
He's a trade for me, not going to score enough. Moving on to the Rucks. So English Meek underperformed. I think Meek you probably just stick with. He's got an easy run coming up. Would you get rid of English if you had him? No.
Oh, yeah. One more.
Yeah, that's right. He had the bad matchup. You got to stick with that. But
was it 50 or something? 60?
Yeah. I mean, it was a tough matchup, but man, he makes me angry watching him and owning him. Flynn, worth touching on his job security. A few calls from Eagle supporters after Wits tailed him up in the first half pretty badly. Could they drop him? I would say for who? A raw
and for what reason?
Bailey J. Williams. If they had a better alternative, I understand that, but I think
they're looking for a scapegoat, George, as to why they got pumped.
Yeah,
and especially in the clearance, they got smacked. But I think people underrate Witsy, to how good he is as a tap ruck. He beats every ruck pretty much. Mostly.
Tap machine. Not only that, you look at his tap in 2, pick 1, pick 2, and an MVP winner.
Come on.
It's just a talent gap. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Move on to the forward line. So you're holding Flinny, but fingers crossed holds and all that. Forward line, would you get Rankin if you didn't have him, if you had a path?
What's the reasonable path? Like
Sanders
Ashcroft sideways or something?
If
you could do that.
I'll do that. So Simpkin and Kennedy. Simpkin, it's hard because of soft tissue. Had a lot of soft tissue last year as well. So that makes me nervous. So
George, I don't think we need to touch any of those picks, especially with DPP coming as well. I think our forward lines are easily going to be, the main 4 that you might not have Rankin, but, JHF Rankin, McRae. McRae could be, 115 average this year, George, and that'll make you happy.
Yes.
Daniel, maybe he's, not good enough when we get Rowan and Chad Warner. And, if they are genuine options, and I think we need to toy with these other, and even an Ashcroft or both. You're just not touching Simpkin or Matt Kennedy. You're just not.
Simpkin's an interesting play in other formats, I think, but that's the SuperCoach pod. But anyway, Sanders, are you trading him if you have him?
Give him one more, but it's going to come to an end.
I think he's not the clear 3rd mid, and it's going to be a trade within the next 6 weeks anyway. And did cash in a little bit late with 2 goals. Kennedy's that senior body. Freya, they liked in there, and Eden, Libba, the main 2. So role's not there.
No. But hey, if you want to give it one more, go for it. If you need someone, like a Baz or something, then I would trade him. Yeah.
Baz, obviously get him in. Finlayson, I put here. He gets dropped. That was kind of.
They don't really have many options, George. But
in League of Legends, it's called Clown Fiesta. That's what it was like watching him.
But a lot of
It
them,
was
to be
shocking.
fair, a lot of them. There were some
Yeah,
goals, the Pies honestly went coast to coast, and I couldn't even count more than 5 Port players on my screen. I don't know where they were, like,
yeah,
from end to end. Like, I'm like, "Where the fuck are these Port?" Like, they're walking up the ground,
yeah,
Collingwood. I don't they just gave up, is pretty much, which is pretty insane for round 1. So he wasn't the only one, but he was pretty bad.
yeah. But I think there's a chance that he gets a massive rocket and he kind of has to play and then plays a bit better.
As an
So I'm
actual
like,
lockdown defender, maybe.
that's the problem. They probably tell him you have to defend, and maybe
And
they.
he's like,
I
"No,
reckon
no, no, no."
late, late in the game, I feel like he was one, he was tired, and two, they just kind of stopped using him because they thought they're probably like, why would I give him the
It's a bit
ball when they're
shameful
going
to
to
go
defend?
sideways when we're down by 80
Yeah,
points. Yeah,
yeah. So
whatever.
he's one. Yeah, you can hold if you want for one.
Oh,
See
he'll
what happens.
score playing that role. It's just like,
Yeah,
can
it's
I?
a mess.
Yeah.
Garcia as well. Hugo looks, unfortunately, yeah, as we said before, uphill battle with the low tog, and I feel like they need a lower steel CBAs. He got cooked multiple times by the Crows mids. Even Dawson, who's not quick, cooked him a couple of times. So, look, I think Hunter Clark was sub. Maybe he starts getting games, and Sinclair as well can get a bit of time in there. I just don't think the CBAs and roles good enough, unfortunately.
If you had a Baz and a Levi and all that, no major priority, I'd give him one more, see what happens.
Yep, I can
Maybe
understand
they
that.
restructure the team. I'm not sure, but it's annoying because I think he can easily do like an 80 if given the chance, but he may not.
Yeah, I worry with a few forwards to come back in if they push one of these mids to sub. I think he's got to be ahead of Hunter Clark. 'Cause apparently, Hunter Clark's done no preseason at all. While Garcia's done a 4-1, looked good. Yeah,
I
I'm with you there. I think
if they
give him an
bring
opportunity.
Butler back in for one of those mids, then we might be laughing. But
Yeah, it's just hard. You got Steele and McRae taking 80% CBAs
yeah,
each, and you're rotating a bunch of guys through that third spot. They did get
yeah,
smashed. Yeah, I can see an 80 average, like you said, but with in the right conditions.
and we just might not
But
get them.
I don't think that happens though.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what we have. We'll
Any
get to our
injury updates quickly that have updated that we may not have got to? Blues have updated theirs. Pitnet 3 to 4.
Okay.
Nothing for the Pies. Nothing for Freo.
It's like Giants have
Gold
updated
Coast.
theirs.
I think another one we didn't speak about, but he's got the bye. Is Ethan Reed.
Yes, that's a good point.
I mean, scored a ton, but only 65 dream team. You know, obviously West Coast, really nice, easy matchup.
They do have a nice run.
Yeah, you see him for one more, but Mac, I think people are worried about his job security now with Ballard doing his knee. Maybe have to restructure and like a Mac Andrew plays back because he's played obviously both ends so far in his career. I don't know. One to keep an eye on anyway. But obviously, yeah, got the bye. Anything from GWS?
Wardlaw's 3 to 4.
String as a test.
Radigali is off the injury list, so he could come in.
He could be the one for Finlayson.
Butters 3 to 5, pretty soon. Blight's test.
Oh, did Griffin Logan do his hammy? I don't even know that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were looking at him 1 to 2.
Liam Henry's test. Butler's 2 to 3, so that's extended.
Oh, okay.
That was 2 to 3 last week.
Butters 3 to 5 weeks. I thought he was out for longer than that.
One thing here, maybe more for draft, but not really. But Gordon's listed as 4+, but I think it's going to be much more than that.
Yeah.
Robbie Fox 3 to 4, so that's blown out a bit. Who was the other one on this list?
Cunningham 2 to 3. And Callum 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, bits updated since we started the pod, which is good. Captains and vice captains. I think I've got TDK into Rosie against you boys at the moment.
Yeah, I think we'll do TDK again. I think a lot of people will be using Stone as a loop this week, but probably want to loop their forward rookie there too.
Yeah.
I might do the Rosie VC and then and then my C option is like a Shees or something on a Sunday, or even do Baz, get him in and see him. Nah, I couldn't do that. It's a tough week, and especially a year where a lot of people don't have a lot of high-priced, big premiums to reliably captain. That's sort of why you got, cherries and cheese types to rely. But Cherry does play Gorn this week, so I think Cherry still tons up most games anyway. Just his work rate and what he does otherwise. But you obviously want to go for upside. So yeah, probably I'll end up with TDK again. Succumb to the pack.
Yep. I'll probably cave too.
And then, the backup C, I guess, is a bit risky. Rosy types do scare me sometimes. He has niggles here and there. But probably what I'll do the same.
Yep. So plan.
I was going to say JHF maybe is a type to cash in as well. I don't know.
Yep. So plan trades this week for me. I'm doing a Leak up to a Sam De Koning. I'm going a Will down to Levi and a Finlayson up to Baz. Wouldn't mind holding both Will and Finlayson, but unfortunately just very high priorities on Baz and Levi. That seems to be my path. What are you thinking for you?
Yeah, I was wondering, can you do that without the boost? If you just trade Will and...
Well, I'm already planning...
You can not get SDK, right? You just do Will to Baz and Levi, someone to Levi. And keep Finlayson.
Yeah, could. But I figure I want Max Hall and Lindsay next week.
Yep. So try not boost next week. That obviously is the aim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure last year I was like, I'm only going to use 5 trades, ended up using 10. So
I'm the same. What I've planned is Sarong out and then use his cash to go Pryor and Garcia. It might be Connor O'Sullivan too. I don't know. I haven't decided which defender Rook, but one of them to SDK, Garcia to Baz, and then Sarong goes down all the way to Levi. Which people will definitely say is stupid, and I think it's kind of stupid too, but it does restructure the whole team. Gets,
need to get out of 4 defender.
SDK at D5 gets me Baz over Garcia, which is a big upgrade, and got to get Levi, but obviously it's for Sarong. But yeah, if I didn't have Cherry, maybe I wouldn't do it because I've still got Cherry and Shees as nice captain options for the weeks coming up. Maybe not this week, but the next month.
Like if Grundy starts to look tired some more, you can probably captain Sherry against Grundy. So we'll see how we go.
Cool.
We'll leave it at that. So back next week and we'll sign off. So thanks for joining us again, everyone. And pleasure as always, Enno.
No worries, mate.
And we'll see you guys next week.